You are at a family party when suddenly you see your aunt crying. She goes out to the backyard with your uncle, and you peek to see what's happening from a distance. You realize they are in a heated argument where, in the end, your uncle physically assaults her. After witnessing this horrible scene, your aunt and uncle leave the place in complete silence. This was something the whole family already knew, as your uncle had the notorious reputation of being an abuser. But this was not going to continue, as months later, your aunt managed to divorce him, which made her very happy. At that moment in court, your mother and aunt began to celebrate euphorically that they had finally freed themselves from this man. But your uncle only looked at them with contempt from a distance, and it was clear that he did not like at all that your aunt was happy. Months passed, and you didn't hear anything about your uncle again. But you always overheard your mother talking to your aunt about him, because the man had become obsessed with your aunt and wanted to get back with her by any means. But she wanted nothing to do with him. One afternoon, your parents went out to run an errand at the bank, and you stayed home with your 4 siblings. Minutes later, someone knocked on the door, and as the oldest, you went to see who it was. At first, you noticed that it was a delivery person, but upon closer inspection, you realized it was your uncle. He asked you to let him in, but you firmly refused, so he decided to force his way in. The first thing he asked was where his ex-wife was, to which you told him you knew nothing about her. Then, he told you to bring all your siblings and line them up while they waited for your parents. After some minutes that felt like hours, your parents arrived and witnessed the horrible scene. Your uncle told them to lie down with the little ones, but your mother, knowing what was about to happen, decided to attack the assailant. Unfortunately, your uncle fired the weapon, and your mother lost her life in front of everyone. Your father remained motionless, and the attacker, thinking he might also try something, decided to end his own life. You were very scared and ran out of the place, but your uncle fired his weapon and managed to injure you near your head. You were wounded but still alive, so you decided to play dead to try to survive, while you heard the gunshots for each remaining sibling. After enduring such a horrible experience, your uncle left without making sure you were lifeless. So the first thing you did was call 911, providing all the details of your aunt's husband, as he planned to harm more people. Hours later, the police managed to capture him, but unfortunately, no one in your family survived, leaving you alone, but with the peace of mind that this man would do no more harm. In July 2014, the peaceful life of the Stay family in Spring, Texas, was torn apart when Ronald Haskell, the brother-in-law of Cassidy Stay, carried out a brutal crime. Armed with a 9mm pistol and motivated by revenge against his ex-wife, Haskell cold-bloodedly murdered Cassidy's parents, Stephen and Katie, and her 4 siblings, Brian, Emily, Rebecca, and Zach. The sole survivor, 15-year-old Cassidy at the time, managed to feign her own death after being injured and called 911, thus preventing the killer from continuing his macabre chain of violence. The trial against Haskell took place in October 2019 in Houston, culminating in his sentencing to the death penalty by lethal injection. Cassidy, now 20 years old, bravely confronted her uncle in the courtroom, expressing her pain, disdain, and determination to move forward with her life. Despite the tragedy, Cassidy Stay's story becomes a testimony of resilience and courage in the face of adversity, leaving a lasting impact on the memory of those who knew this family tragedy. Case, Stay Family, 2014, United States.